with so much time.
Sell this for like $1 million.
I think.
No, I'm freezing, but I'm okay.
I'm sorry.
That was perfect.
That's it. Oh, okay. So we are here with Todd Falcone, and if you don't know who he is, you should. So, I just recently found out from the interview that Mike Dillard, I had no idea you were his mentor, and it's huge. So I knew that you were like top guy, but so could you tell us a little bit, share your story with people who don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the network marketing profession for 23 years and started in it right out of college. I got a phone call from some guy. I was going through career fair and trying to get a job like everybody else, and some guy called me and I thought I was going to a job interview, and I ended up going to a business opportunity meeting. And I didn't even know what a business opportunity meeting was. So went to that first presentation and had never heard of multi-level marketing or seen it before, but you know, the concept made sense to me. You sell this product and you build a team. You make commissions on what you sell. You make commissions on what they sell. And I went, man, that makes sense to me. So you know, I began that journey about 23 years ago, and you know, the first couple of years I struggled. I didn't make very much first couple of years, but I hung in there and stayed. And as a result, I've had a 23-year career now in the profession. And in about the last 9 years, I've invested most of my time teaching and training on the subject, running seminars, and showing people how to do what I did in the business.
Okay, so yeah, the question that I have is that most people want it quick. And what made you hold on?
Well, I mean, who doesn't want it quick? I mean, we live in a microwave fast food society. I want it right this second. And I think that the thing is, like, we have certain expectations around making money. Like the first time you mow a lawn, like in my case, I mowed a lawn, my sister babysat her, I threw a paper out. You do that work, and then you get some money, and then you get your first job. And my first job was flipping burgers at Jack in the Box. Then my second job was McDonald's. But I would work for 2 weeks and then I would get a check. Work for 2 weeks and I get a check. And then you get into this profession and you're like, wait a minute, I just worked 2 weeks and I don't have no check. Where's my check? Oh, wait a minute, I worked a month. I have no check. Wait, I'm 2 months and I got a check, but it's $28.97. That's my residual for the month. And people just don't understand it takes time for volume to accumulate in an organization that you're building. And if more people would understand that and exercise patience while they're actually building their business, there'd be a lot more successes, for sure. So I don't know, maybe I wasn't smart enough to quit.
Yeah, that's the same with me. So it's like my husband, where's the money before it? Okay, so why do you think the industry has a bad image?
I don't really feel that it does, but I know what you're saying. I think when people get overzealous or overexcited about what they're doing, which they should. I mean, you let's say you worked for somebody else your whole life, and then you have this opportunity, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm so excited about how we can go create change, and let's go do this, and we can have abundance and financial freedom. And you start going and talking to people. People don't they don't use their intuition and their gut. Where if somebody, like if I was talking to you and you're like, no, I'm not really, oh, come on, you don't get it, come on, you have to do it, come on,
Yeah.
And instead of like if you just pay attention, if more people would pay attention to how a prospect responds to whatever they're saying, I think we'd have less problems. And then the other thing, there's a couple companies out there that they essentially teach people to not say anything, where you're like, oh, just come on over and just come over and hang out, and I don't want to tell you what it is, but then it's like, why do you need to hide? I'm going to show you a really cool business. Come on, I want to show it to you. I think when you sneak pitch somebody, they get a little upset over that. So
yeah. Okay, so
brought to you by Starbucks.
Who can ask them for permission to advertise?
Howard Schultz. You appreciate this, I know.
So what do you think it takes to succeed in this business? What does a person have to have?
Oh, you definitely have to have tenacity, an understanding of what real commitment is, the willingness to stick to something long term, the willingness to be inquisitive. And what I mean by inquisitive is like seeking out answers and, okay, I want to figure this out. So what do we have to do here to get this done? So I don't think it takes you don't have to have like an IQ of some, I don't even know what numbers IQs are. What's a high IQ? 165?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess so. Cool. So that's cameraman can talk too. That's totally cool. Don't worry about that. So I don't think you have to have a high IQ. I think you have to have a high amount of passion, desire, the willingness to try stuff, and the willingness to go out and do something, and know that if you screw up the first time, it's okay. You can go back at it and try it again until you figure it out. So, tenacity, work ethic, passion, willingness to learn, willingness to be coachable.
What about training? And if the person, for example, when I started, I didn't have any communication skills. I was so shy, and like personal development stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about the willingness to learn, like being inquisitive and going, okay, I want to figure this out.
Okay.
So that's where I want to learn. I want to be coachable. I want to figure it out. That's and that would certainly encompass training. So for sure.
Okay, so in your opinion, what is it better to prospect existing struggling network marketers who actually believe in the business but don't have the proper training and stuff, or the people like professionals who never been involved?
Did you just read my blog post?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so here's the deal. Like, I personally don't like to go after other network marketers as my primary mechanism for finding new business. So, and here's the reason I say that. So you obviously know me, you're interviewing me today, so I obviously probably know what I'm doing when it comes to this business. How would you feel if I got a hold of your genealogy report, your downline, and bit by bit, person by person, started calling all them and telling them how great my company was and how crappy yours was, and brought them all over and tore apart your organization that you worked so hard to create? You would be real happy with me. So I kind of like to live by the golden rule with that. I wouldn't want somebody doing that to me, so I don't want to do that to them. Now, you said struggling network marketers. So there's most people are struggling, and they're not struggling because of any other reason other than themselves. They're struggling because of their inability to either be coachable or do the right thing. People like constantly trying to reinvent the wheel, do their own thing, or they're not actually doing anything. They're kidding themselves into, oh, I'm really being busy, I'm really doing something. In all reality, they're not doing jack squat. So we go, if a company's going out of business, like if you're in a company and you're like, I know for a fact that they're closing their doors tomorrow, or there's some major problem, I know that you're likely going to be looking for something else. So at that point, I have no problem making, hey, I realize that your company's having some issues right now. Are you open to taking a look at something? But just me going through and trying to go get a bunch of other network marketers, that's never been my thing.
Okay. So, and then the approach has evolved over the years. So could you share how it used to be and how it is now, and how to approach?
I think what we do has are you talking about like technology changes or?
No, like prospecting. Maybe technology.
Yeah, my approach hasn't changed, really. I've gotten better at my approach through working on my skills and certainly the communication aspect of it. But what I do in terms of how I engage people in conversation and what I say, I'm all about like finding out about you and getting to know who you are and what your situation is, and asking lots of questions and really listening to what you're saying before I ever come at you with my business opportunity typically. So I think what has changed over the years is the tools and the technology that we can use. When I started network marketing, we didn't have any internet. Internet wasn't even a name, So we had a telephone and a fax machine, and we would hand out, VHS tapes or, an audio CD as a handout. When was the last time you saw a VHS tape or an audio CD? And then along comes the internet and autoresponders, and then websites, and then video. Video. Oh my gosh, we're on video right now, probably on the internet. How cool is that? So, sorry, camera guy, I had to do that. But I think that what we do as a profession hasn't really changed. It's you find a product that makes sense to you, that you really dig, and you decide whether or not you want to do the business, and if so, then you go talk to people about it, and then you show it to them, and you can show it to them by putting something on your iPad now, or you know, handing them a cassette tape or an audio CD, or taking them to a conference call or a live meeting, or you know, whatever it might be. So I don't think a whole lot's changed in terms of what we do.
Okay. Okay, so let me read my cheat sheet.
Cheat sheet. When I was at school, I got it.
Okay, so
You're at 10 minutes.
Well,
now.
we have a break.
You're at 10
Starbucks.
minutes
Brought to you
now.
by Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
No, your 10-minute mark is right now.
Oh, okay. So
You're doing fine.
professional.
Don't worry, we cut this.
Oh,
No, you don't want to cut this. No,
No,
no.
okay. Yeah, a little cheese there from Todd.
So I have met a lot of professionals who are like have all the skills, like they are very successful people, but they see this business as okay, you have to like sell a product and that's it. But there's a bigger picture, like very successful people, they treat it like a game, and they have like masterminds, and they have contests and live events, and you meet and you mingle, and it's could you share how like to broaden, how to explain the industry, like to make it exciting, and so that the people want to hang out with
Yeah. I think, you know, obviously whatever company you're involved in, you're selling this thing to an end user. I mean, in the end, every single company, regardless of whether they're selling a product or service, they're bringing product to an end user, and through that experience, there's, you know, we as independent distributors do that, and then we as a group, you know, over time, you know, if you first you start out yourself, and then obviously you're building this organization, and now you're managing or overseeing this whole entire organization of people, hundreds if not thousands of people, and there's a dynamic that goes on in there, and you know, you have people some people are frustrated, some people are incredibly motivated, some people work hard, some people don't, and so you know, building in different mechanisms to, you know, create some synergy and to create you know, excitement and growth is an important part of the process, whether it be, you know, regional events, national events, weekly conference calls, mastermind events with, you know, small core leadership groups, you know, running contests like within an organization, recognition and rewards. You know, obviously, you know, a lot of companies I see, not all, but a lot of companies aren't so good in the recognition and rewards area, which is a bummer, because, you know, people will oftentimes work harder for, you know, an attaboy or attagirl than they will for the check. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, and I've done this, where within my own organization, we'll incentivize the group, like, okay, so we're running a contest, and the top recruiter for the month is going to get this, or, you know, the person that blows out the biggest amount of volume is going to get this, and people start, you know, battling for that, because it's like this extra little carrot that they're going after, and it, you know, creates a little competitive environment within the organization, and then they like the thing that they get at the end, the carrot that they're going after. So there's you know, that's all in the whole management side of the business, and managing and running a larger organization.
But also, I love that you can choose and pick with the people that you work with. I hadn't realized it before, like where they say, well, I like the people, and I'm like, what's to love about the people? People who are in corporate, they basically don't usually like each other, right? So here you can choose positive people. Like I heard you on the call say, well, you pick up the phone and there's negative person on the phone, and
Bye.
Right. So it's like if the person if they have like communication skills and stuff, but they are negative about the industry, do you want to work towards changing their perception, or do you just want to go?
I think it depends. It depends on the person. You know, I mean, if somebody's all, network marketing, you know, I kind of laugh, because I'm like, really, are you that ignorant? That's like, I don't say that out loud, but I'm thinking that. Mm-hmm. Because if you really understood what it was, you wouldn't be like that. Mm-hmm. And so what I typically find is somebody who really doesn't understand the profession if they're being that negative. So if I'm looking at, there's lots of types of people, but there's one guy who's like super successful and he at least mostly intelligent, but doesn't understand the arena. And then there's some other dude who's just an idiot, and I wouldn't want to work with him anyhow, and he's negative, so I'm not even going to try to educate him. This person I might, okay. You know, and there's tools for doing that, you know, brilliant compensation, or a business of the 21st century, or a conversation. I interviewed a woman recently who is one of the top earners in a company. She has like, I think, 300,000 reps in 23 different countries, big, gigantic volume. And she blew off network marketing for like 10 years. She's like, oh, I'm not gonna look at it, and didn't even look at it. And finally, it was her babysitter's parents that, like 4 times, they're like, you got to take a look at this. You got to take a look at this. Come on, And finally, she said, oh, fine, I'll look at this stupid thing, And she goes to it, and she's like literally, she goes, I'm kicking myself in the rear end, going, why did I not do this sooner?
What did she do before?
She was a consultant. She did real estate stuff, but she didn't. She was making her decision based on no information, based on like, you told me something. Oh yeah, let's say you just came up to me one day, Jane, and said, "Oh, network marketing's stupid," and I'd listen. I don't know. Okay, it's stupid, but there's no facts, just something you said, essentially. So she was judging that based on literally no information, and then of course now she's killing it. So.
Okay. Oh, the other question I have like so many friends who are all in corporate, and they love to hang out with each other. They travel places together, and they're smart people, but they don't understand that if you can do the same thing, basically you can hang out but be economically connected. You might as well make money together.
Sure.
And could you explore a little bit on that? Why can't they see it?
I don't know why they can't see it. I'll take it to somebody who does see it. And if you don't see it, I'll say thanks for your time. I'll see you later, and move on to somebody who does. But yeah, it's pretty cool where you can be in a business and be independent and not have a job, and be able to go and travel and play with your friends. And because you're all in business together, everything that you do, even when you're playing, essentially, if you're doing it right, is a tax deduction, because you're in my business and we're working together, and we work wherever I travel all over the place, and everywhere I go I'm working. So there's the benefits of that, and there's the benefits of hanging out with cool people that are in your company. So back to the thing you said earlier, it's like you got to choose who you want to work with. It's like, I don't want to bring my grumpy negative friend in the business, because then I'd be forced to hang out with them. So
okay. Do you believe in law of attraction?
Yeah.
Okay. What material would you recommend for people to? Because I know a lot of people, they just want to know technical stuff, but they don't believe in this woo-woo thing.
I don't know. I think if you go look at like the book Think and Grow Rich, one of the first chapter of the book is thoughts are things. And so what you think about, you bring about in your life. It is, if you're thinking like negative stuff, you're going to bring negative stuff in your life. If you're thinking good thoughts, you're going to bring those good things in your life. So it might seem like, oh, that's weird, but the reality is, think about it. Think about when maybe you're like, I'm almost sick, I feel like I'm getting sick, and then like, oh, okay, I'm sick, and then next thing you know, you're choking and coughing, and you're sick in bed for a week, versus, I just blow it out of my mind. I'm like, I feel healthy, I feel great, I feel awesome. And it's amazing what happens. The mind is powerful. Studies, whatever, I don't know what the exact percentage, but studies have shown we only use a teeny 10% of our brain. The other 90% is essentially not used or dormant. It's pretty powerful stuff. And also, I think I know your unconscious mind does not take jokes. So if you're telling yourself negative stuff, then in here it's going, oh, okay, now I'm going to buy that negative stuff. So the wind just came up.
Cold. I'm freezing here. So you already shared the importance of live events, but some people say, well, we can just listen to webinars and stuff. So what do
you can't? You have to go to live events. If you're in this business, you don't go to live events, you're missing like the part of the fun.
Right, but what's for me personally, it's behind the scenes. What's on stage you can watch, but behind, like what's going on, the mingling, the energy, and all the people you meet in the bathroom.
Yeah, you meet a lot of people in the bathroom.
No, I mean like.
I don't know. To me, it's like I learned way long time ago. You got to go to live events. It's what you experience on stage. It establishes deeper level of beliefs for a lot of people. It's an incredible networking opportunity. It allows you to be surrounded by other people that are of like mind, and that's huge. And
I've basically a lot of lives change, right? Like live events are changing lives.
Yeah,
so that's
for sure.
So where do you think where do you see the industry in 10 to 20 years?
Just still growing. People are always going to be looking for ways to make money and looking for a way to get out of their occupation, and we offer an alternative. We offer a solution, so we're not going anywhere.
So when people say, well, the market is saturated and somebody got to work, so what would you say?
If somebody says the market is saturated, I'm like, well, show me the statistics. Mm-hmm. If you're so right on the fact that, show me your saturation statistics. Do you have them in your pocket? Mm-hmm. No. Okay, then you don't know what you're talking about. It's, you know, I mean, when somebody says that, they don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. So what kind of tools do you use to invite people to look at your like, for example, you say, oh, are you interested? Like, you have a question, like a pick interest question you mentioned, mm-hmm. right? So after they say, yeah, sure, we'll look at it. What do you do? What information do you
I'll use whatever works. I mean, whether it's a webinar, a conference call, an audio CD, a one-on-one. I mean, there's only about maybe 5 to 6 or 7 ways that... Loud people. There's only about 5 or 6 ways probably that you can present information. So I'll use whatever is going to work to tell you the story so you can make an informed decision for yourself. So I'll use, like I said, whatever tool is available that does a good job of relaying the information to you in a nice manner where by the time you're done, you're like, hey, this makes sense to me, I want to join.
So people, what's the importance of follow-up?
I got to take a sip of coffee for that one. You have to follow up. If you don't, you're dead. You're never going to build a business on throwing something out there and hoping that it comes to you. You can't build a career on first impressions, on here, let me give you a CD and hope you call me back. You have to follow up. I mean, most of my business, most of my success, a great majority of my success has come as a result of my willingness to pick up the phone and engage somebody and get back to them after I've sent them some information. The other thing is your prospect is expecting you. They're expecting you to get back to them. And as soon as you don't, they're like, wait a minute, hold on a second. This guy Todd was all excited talking to me about this business and how we can change, create change in my life, and then he gave me this thing, and I never heard from him. How lame is that? I'm not going to join this guy. You're not cold.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 90 degrees out here, and she's chilly.
I'm sorry. What?
Well, are we going to keep going?
Yeah. Did you turn it off?
Well, no, mine ran out of space. You're still going right now. I mean, we'll just clip it.
My camera. I mean,
yeah, we'd be screwed. You need to get a bigger disc, man.
No, I got a lot of junk on there. I didn't know we were going to go. We're in 20 minutes now. This is great. This is 20. I didn't know you were going to give us so much time.
Sell this for like $1 million.
I think I usually go 5-minute pieces. We're on 22 minutes now, man.
Really freezing. So,
you want to ask an in-closing question?
What's in the closing?
Last
in
question.
Closing, like a final question, so you can warm up inside.
Okay.
And not have the chitter.
Yeah. Because it's starting to show. Your goosebumps is showing.
Okay, so I guess we covered a lot of stuff.
So last question. So finally.
When did it become fun for you?
When did it become fun? I was having fun as soon as I started. I mean, the whole idea of not having a boss was fun for me. So it wasn't fun that I wasn't making any money, but it was fun that I didn't have to work for somebody else. That whole idea was fun. So I've been having a good time ever since I started.
Okay, well, I heard Mike Dillard said it took him 6 years. And how long? When did you see?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about fun equaling money, then it took me a couple years to, it took me about 2 years before I really started to have fun. If we're talking about that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about people's jumping from company to company?
No.
Just focus on one.
Yeah, focus.
Stick.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Todd Falcone here.
Good times. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
Turn it off.